Let's begin with External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar, who on Wednesday said that India is not ruling out an investigation, but asked Canada to provide evidence in support of its allegations about the involvement of agents of the Indian government in the killing of a Khalistani separatist in the country.
In the case of Mr. Trudeau, I have discussed it also with my own counterpart. I still do, we have told them, so look, if you have a reason to make such an allegation, please share the evidence with us. We are not ruling out an investigation and looking at anything which they may have to offer. They haven't done so. Canadian politics has given space to violent and extreme political opinions which advocate separatism from India, including through violent means. And these people have been accommodated in Canadian politics. They are given the freedom to articulate their views. And not just that, it had come to a situation where the diplomats of my country, including the High Commissioner, we've had attacks on the High Commission, smoke bombs thrown at the High Commission. My Consul General and other diplomats were intimidated in public, on record, with no action taken by those who did this. You know, he has a track record which is there in the social media, and that track record is a pretty graphic one. So I would leave everybody to make their judgment when, about a person whose pictures are there with weapons, who has taken positions. I mean, the positions are not secret, they are very public positions. Yeah. We feel that the Canadian politics has given space to violent and extreme political opinions which advocate separatism from India, including through violent means. And these people have been accommodated in Canadian politics. They are given the freedom to articulate their views. And not just that, it had come to a situation where the diplomats of my country, including the High Commissioner, we've had attacks on the High Commission, smoke bombs thrown at the High Commission. My Consul General and other diplomats were intimidated in public, on record, with no action taken by those who did this. This is a country where there is a previous history. For those who would be familiar with Lockerbie, we had a much bigger incident when an Air India plane, there were bombs put, in fact, on two planes. One fortunately landed before when the bomb went off, but the other one, there were 327 people who died when the plane crashed off Ireland. So given all this, I think it was important that, a country like Canada, I mean, we are a democracy, we are a democracy, they are a democracy. But freedom of speech and freedom of expression also comes with a certain responsibility, and the misuse of those freedoms and the toleration of that misuse for political purposes would be, to our mind, very wrong. Now, in the case of Mr. Trudeau, I have discussed it also with my own counterpart. I still do, we have told them, so look, if you have a reason to make such an allegation, please share the evidence with us. We are not ruling out an investigation and looking at anything which they may have to offer. They haven't done so.
So this was the unsparing attack by the External Affairs Minister. My colleague Rishabh joins us on the broadcast with an analysis on what this means. Because Rishabh, the standoff with Canada has been going on for over the last few weeks. Jaishankar now very clearly saying that Canadian politics has given rise to such kind of violent, extreme political opinion that advocates for separatism from India through violent means. And he says yet again, we are ready for an investigation, but Canada has still not provided any proof.
Well, definitely. 18th September was the day when Justin Trudeau made these wild allegations that India, there are credible, quote-unquote, credible evidence against India in the Nijjar killing. It's been almost 2 months. Today is 16th of November. In last 2 months, Canada has failed time and again to provide any proper credible proof to India, and that this is what Dr. S. Jaishankar is calling out, that India is a democracy. We are not ruling out any investigation, and we want credible evidence to be shown to us for us to investigate. We are not ruling out investigation. We are ready to allow the investigation, but what should we investigate? Just because your Prime Minister said something in the Parliament doesn't mean that India will join the investigation. You need to give us at least the basic evidence for us to start the investigation or join the investigation. This is exactly what Dr. S. Jaishankar told Antony Blinken as well when he was in Washington last month and both the leaders met. Antony Blinken did talk about Canada. India was very clear that we will discuss things with Canada. We will investigate things with Canada. But point is, where are the evidence? Just by making allegations, one cannot ask India to investigate things. Pakistan and China keep making allegations against India in similar manner. Doesn't mean that India will waste time investigating allegations. There are no evidence, and hence we cannot investigate anything. On the same time, External Affairs Minister went on to say that Canadian politics has given space to elements like Nijjar who are separatist in nature. They are extremists and separatists in nature, anti-India, and just because it serves their polity back in Canada, they have allowed such elements on the Canadian soil. That is something that India would not allow. In last 5 years, there have been at least a dozen times when India has shared dossiers with Canada for such elements, and Canada has never responded to these dossiers. External Affairs Minister is very clear that Canada cannot be allowing misuse of freedom of expression. If Indian consulates are attacked, if Indian High Commission is attacked, if the Indian High Commissioner feels that he is unsafe in the country where he has been sent as an envoy of India, this is something that is concerning, and Canada needs to act. Canada cannot put a blind eye on such issues and then talk about rule of law. We have seen how Indian communities have been harassed. We have seen how Indian diplomats have been harassed in Canada, and how Canada has failed to even act on petty issues like what happened day before yesterday, where the Indian community was targeted, stone pelted. It's been 72 hours. There is no probe ordered, or there has not been any arrest made, even when the videos are there in public domain.
Absolutely. And, you know, you mentioned what the External Affairs Minister has said about how these extremist political ideologies are brewing in Canada, on Canada's soil, and not much is done about it. And India has also given proof, and we've seen what has happened, but the Khalistani thugs continue to get a free run, Rishabh, because over the last few days as well, even the Diwali celebrations of several Hindus being disrupted by the Khalistani thugs. Before that as well, there have been several incidents of the high commissions you mentioned, not just that, temples, places of worship also being desecrated, and despite that, no strong action being taken by Canada.
Well, definitely. We have seen Lakshmi Narayan Temple being defaced. We have seen the Gita Park this July being defaced. We have seen Indian High Commission, the protest at Indian High Commission where the Indian flag was disrespected. We have seen even at the, life status check, that event organized by the Indian High Commission, the Khalistani goons disrespecting Indian flag. A Sikh boy walks in and protests against against the Khalistani goons who were disrespecting Indian flag. This showcases that a handful of Khalistani thugs are literally holding Canada by ransom. Justin Trudeau's party is not in full majority. They are supported by NDP, and we all know how NDP has openly supported Khalistan issue, or for that matter Khalistan terrorism. And Canada, for that matter, need to understand, back in 1980s, the biggest terror attack in Canada was co-opted and executed by the Khalistani terrorists, killing over 230, including Canadian citizens, when the Air India flight Kanishka was bombed by the Khalistani terrorists. Even then, Canada has given space to these Khalistani thugs and do not understand which way they are going. And we have seen it in last 2 weeks itself. The gang war among the Khalistani thugs have increased to a level where open firing happened at public place in Edmonton last week, killing 2 of them. And this is something that has happened. We have seen similar things in Pakistan, which became the backyard of terrorism against India. And now what's happening in Pakistan? Every passing day we hear one terror attack or another in Pakistan. Similarly, in Canada as well, shootings, gang wars have become a normal phenomena. And this is because Canadian government and Canadian politics has given space to these antisocial terrorist elements
and it's
on the
extremely
Canadian
concerning. On one hand, they're advocating of Khalistan in India. On the other hand, in Canada as well, a clear law and order problem that we are seeing. But what we've seen over the last few days is the unfounded claims that have been made by the Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau versus the External Affairs Minister Jaishankar, who has very clearly stated that India has provided evidence, we're ready for investigation, no such proof being provided by Canada. Shivya is joining us with the details.
Yes, so let's quickly give you some background information as to what has been happening between both the countries. Well, as far as India is concerned, they have categorically stated that we are okay with the probe. However, Canada needs to give the proof. And why is that? Because we know that Justin Trudeau has time and again said that he has a credible proof with him as far as the entire matter is concerned, wherein the country has accused India in the Nijjar killing. In fact, the claim that has come in from Canada's side, he has said that India is making life unbelievably difficult. However, India has countered, saying our diplomats were not safe in Canada. And this statement has once again been said, has once again been given by External Affairs Minister. Canada has also claimed that it is a violation of the Vienna Convention. However, India has countered so far that the parity provided for by Vienna Convention is what India's stand has been. India also says that diplomats' safety fundamental to Vienna Convention. However, Canada's claim is that India's action is contrary to international law. Principle of diplomacy was also contravened, but India says that it is concerned about Canada's interference. So once again, we know that External Affairs Minister has talked about India's stand when it comes to the Nijjar killing, and saying that our diplomats were attacked, our High Commission were attacked, but no action was taken. And as far as the entire matter is concerned, where is the proof?
Okay, all right. Shivya, thank you for joining us with those details. Thanking Rishabh as well for joining us with those inputs. We continue tracking the developments on this big story, but let's